I just wanted to make a video and talk about how me coming out has affected me. So, last summer, going into 11th grade, I basically came out to my school about being transgender and wanting to be referred to as Oakley. And so I made an appointment and I went with my friend and whatever, it was easy, it was fine. For me, it was a really big step because I would be referred to as Oakley for the entirety of 11th grade, and that seemed pretty scary, and it was also what I wanted. It is what I want. I still want that. So the first day of school, I was of course nervous about the whole thing because there are people in my school who for sure do not know me as Oakley, and most of those people are not my friends. They're just peers that I go to school with. So it was really scary going into 11th grade with such a big change because I don't think that I have ever really been the person, especially when it comes to school, who wants to do anything that could possibly make me stand out more. For years, probably since middle school, I just wanted to fly under the radar and just deal with going to school. But of course, things have changed. The first day of school, I was nervous. Very nervous, but also excited because, I mean, why wouldn't I be excited? It was the beginning of a new year. I had goals to work towards, and slowly but surely I was working on myself, and people could possibly torment me and point out the fact that I'm doing something like this. I'm being referred to as a different name. And so the way that my school got that information out to my teachers and to staff that needed to be informed about it was my principal. He sent out a letter that said, so-and-so wants to be referred to as Oakley and he and him pronouns. At the time, I really didn't really care about pronouns and stuff in that way, but of course I still did care, and I do care because I don't want to be referred to as a girl. I don't want to be called a girl. I just don't really want to deal with any judgment, because if somebody calls me a girl and then somebody else corrects them, or if it happens the other way around, somebody calls me a guy and then somebody else corrects them, I don't want to have to deal with that because that puts more stress on me. The first day, of course, you would have to say your name and say something about yourself. So I was so nervous because I was going to be referring to myself as Oakley, and that was going to be scary because what if somebody pointed it out or something like that? I was just scared. It's such a small difference. It's not really that small though, but it has just made me feel better, especially in school, because it is school, just school, where I have to spend a lot of my time with people, and I would rather them call me Oakley than anything else, even if I don't really like with him. So it went good with most of the teachers. Yeah, there's just this weird thing where it says my legal name and then in parentheses in a different color, if you're on the computer, it would say your preferred name. So it did that, and yeah. So one of my classes, it was video production. Not that the name really matters, but he referred to me as the wrong name, and I felt really nervous about that because I didn't want to be referred to as that this year, not in any classes, not by anyone, if I could help it. And so after class, I went up to him and I said, "Did you get the email that the principal sent out, like about me?" I said something like that, and he made a joke which made me feel uncomfortable because it was something I was really nervous about. But hey, whatever, happened at the beginning of the year. And so I told him about it. He said he would look at it, and I said, okay, I think that was it. Something else might have happened. I'm not sure, I can't remember. So that was the beginning of 11th grade for me while I was changing my name in school to Oakley officially and, well, like officially. And over the year there has been some instances where teachers have referred to me by the wrong name, and of course it makes me uncomfortable, but I have to learn to deal with it. I have to learn how to be uncomfortable and how to deal with being uncomfortable, because that is something that is always going to come up in my life. The teachers, they were fine. They were fine. It could have been worse, and it wasn't, so that was good. Although they did not use the correct pronouns, they still referred to me as a female, and like, okay, I'll take what I can, you know? There was this one time in math class where my teacher, he, like, I had to stay after to finish taking a quiz or something. I had to stay in class and like come late to my other class. So he called that teacher for me and said that I was going to be late, and he used she pronouns. And after that he was like, "I'm really sorry that I used she pronouns." And I'm like, "It's okay. It's fine." And I just don't like making people feel bad. I also don't like feeling bad. I thought that was really nice of him though, because he didn't have to say anything, but he did because he cared, and I respected that. Substitutes, they make me so nervous when I go into class and I see my teacher's not there and that a substitute's coming in. I'm like, oh fuck, it's gonna be one of those days. So now I'm gonna be referred to by the wrong name for attendance, and people in my class, if they're listening, hopefully they aren't, they're gonna be like, who the fuck, who? Or something like that, and I just don't want that to happen. But yeah, there was this one time, made me super embarrassed. I was in chemistry and they were calling me down to the main office. So of course they called the room and my teacher picked it up. On the phone they didn't say my preferred name. So my teacher didn't say my preferred name and she called it out too, and that just made it worse because I would rather the people in my class just think my name is Oakley and have heard wrong for the past 2 years or something. But she was like, oh, I'm sorry, they didn't say Oakley on the phone, they said this. I don't know why they would have done that. And I was like, it's okay. And my face was red. I was so fucking embarrassed. But yeah, there have been other times as well. There was this one time, happened pretty recently, my math teacher again, but it was a different one because they changed, blah, blah, blah. She's pregnant, she's back. So I was the extra help and she referred to me by the wrong name and she didn't catch on. And at the beginning, I didn't really catch on either. I was just like, okay, I don't think I heard that correctly. But she caught on and she touched my shoulder and she's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And I was like, oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's okay. It's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. She's very nice though, and like I said, I don't want people to feel bad, but I also don't want to feel bad either, so I'll learn how to deal with it eventually. So that's pretty much it when it comes to how it affected me in class, in school, with classmates. I got referred to as Oakley in school, and it was so cool. It was so weird and so awkward at first because I was just like, this is so weird, this is so new to me. I don't know how to really deal with it, and it makes me feel kind of weird because, like, why did I do this? This is gonna give me more stress. But I'm glad that I did it because it made me feel more comfortable and it just made me happier. So I did get misgendered basically all throughout 11th grade and other grades as well, of course. But you know, there are those small instances where people kind of see me like a guy, or they kind of see me like a girl, or fuck, whatever. Another important thing that has happened this year, last summer, I came out, of course. I came out to my friends. I texted people, basically just texted people because it was summer, school was gonna start soon, and I don't see a lot of these people, and I didn't really want to say it in person because it would make me so nervous. So I just texted people, and I texted like everybody. I texted people from school, like that I know from in school, and I said, I would really appreciate it if you referred to me as Oakley this year. Basically, that's it. And they were all cool. They were like, okay, great, blah blah blah, whatever, I'll do that. And yeah, that's pretty sweet. A close friend of mine who is a friend of the family, basically, I told her that people are gonna be referring to me as Oakley this year. I know that you heard that last year when you talked to my friends somewhat, but this year, like, everybody's gonna be calling me Oakley, and I just wanted to keep you informed about that so that if you hear somebody call me Oakley, you're not gonna feel weird about that or be confused. And she was like, okay, yeah, I remember last year somebody called you Oakley, and I was like, who is that? And I was like, yeah, that's me. With one of my friends who I came out to, he wasn't really okay with it. He had a crush on me. So it made things more difficult because I was like, I want to be a boy. Call me Oakley, please. It doesn't change who I am. It will just make me feel better, and I would really just appreciate this if you could do that. And if you can't really understand where I'm coming from or respect what I want, then we shouldn't really be friends anymore. And so I didn't text him. Well, I mean, I didn't get much replies from him for a while because I suppose he was thinking about it. And eventually I texted him and I said basically what I just said, because I didn't really say it to him beforehand. And I said all of this stuff. I was being really serious. I texted it, of course, and blah blah blah, whatever, and we're cool. It's all good now. It was kind of weird at the beginning of school, but everything got better, and I really didn't see how things could get better, how people could treat me a bit differently, how friends could treat me a bit differently, how everything could just slowly get a little better, but it did. And now 11th grade is over, and I have summer break, and then I'm going to I'm going to fucking 12th grade, and that's gonna be lit. But this is not the end of what I'm saying. Another part about the friends, I came into 11th grade with 2 friends that I hung out with. They may or may not be watching this video. Hi. It was a bit weird at the beginning when it came to pronouns and preferred name, but it gets better, you know. And I try not to take things personally. I try not to beat myself up if somebody refers to me by the wrong pronoun or the wrong name. I try to ignore it, to be honest, because people make mistakes, and I really shouldn't focus on those mistakes, and I really shouldn't let them get to me. Another thing that happened this year is I came out to my family, my close family, not my extended family. I came out to my dad and my sister and my brother too, I guess, even though he is not home. He's like 21 doing his life, and you know. But I came out to my mom at like the beginning of the year. I came out to my mom at the beginning of the year, and she's supportive, she's understanding. We have a lot in common, so it wasn't that bad. She's not trans or anything, we just, yeah. At the beginning of the school year, I told her about the name change and how if we get phone calls to home from school or something like that happened, they may or may not refer to me as Oakley, and Oakley is me because I'm going to be going by that name this year in school. And she was like, okay. And over the course of the year, I slowly would talk to her more about it. I would talk to her about gender. I would talk to her about how I wanted to go on hormones, how I don't feel comfortable in my body, small things like that. I didn't open myself up too much because to a degree, I don't like being that open with people, especially my family, because I have to live with them every day of my life. So, great. Midterms. Pretty sure it was midterms. Midterm week or something like that. I went to school, took a midterm, but when I was sitting in the cafeteria, I got my first nosebleed that I have ever had, that I can remember. Maybe I had one when I was a child, but I have never gotten a nosebleed before. And if I have, I'm just gonna say it was my first nosebleed that I can recall having ever. So I got it when I was there, before the test happened, luckily. and took the test, went home. Sometime before that, I was thinking more and more about coming out to my dad about me being trans and me wanting these things to happen to my body and me everything else. So I got a nosebleed again when I was in my room, not because I was thinking about coming out, but I just randomly got one. And so I got a nosebleed again when I was in my room. Okay, it's gonna be one of those days, I guess, getting a nosebleed for the first time a few times today. So I was in my room and I was thinking, maybe I should come out today. It's the first time I ever got a bloody nose. Why can't I just do something about that? It could be a sign, maybe not, because I'm not too sure about how I feel about signs, but I made it a sign anyway, even if it wasn't. I decided that I wanted to come out to my father. So I did. I told my mom when she got home. I said, I think we need to have that conversation with my dad today. And she was really nervous about it because my dad can be very judgmental. At dinner, I said to my dad, so, you know those people who are transgender? And he's like, yeah. And I said, yeah, I think I'm one of them. That's pretty much verbatim what I said. Can't remember it exactly, but yeah. So we continued that conversation for a half hour about, and my sister came upstairs and became a part of the conversation. Yeah, I just wanted to get my thoughts out. I wanted to prove some points because that's always how conversations go in my family. You always have to prove a point. You have to use facts or whatever. So my sister butted in and she was fine. Yeah, but I just wanted it to be me and my father and my mom talking, and I didn't want my sister to butt in right now because this was really important to me. And the conversation was okay. My dad isn't accepting. He thinks it's a mistake, and I'll probably talk about that in some other times too. So I got really upset during the conversation and I started crying and I got another bloody nose. I came out on the day that I got my very first nosebleed that I can remember. And yeah, sometime after that, maybe the next day or the next week, I had another conversation with my dad, and it was just me and my dad. Nobody else was home. And I brought it up, and we had a conversation. And of course, it wasn't the best. We've had conversations, not many, maybe 4 conversations, maybe 5 about it. And he still loves me, of course. He's not that dumb to drop your child just because they believe something that you don't, and they, you know. So some things have been going on in my family more recently, and I'm not going to talk too much about that because it's personal. My parents are probably going to get divorced. As of right now, things are not good. Things have not been good for maybe a month, and it's taking its toll on me, of course. And not to be selfish, because I don't want to seem like I'm being selfish, but I have no idea what is happening when it comes to me and trying to get on hormones now. Because before all of this happened, I had an idea, me and my mom had an idea of what I was doing, how I was going to do it, how my dad was going to deal with it, everything like that. And now I don't go to a gender therapist. I don't go to a therapist at all because my therapist left, and I didn't even get a letter saying that I could take testosterone whenever the time comes, because my old therapist's boss is leaving as well soon, and because I'm seeing a professional therapist somewhere else, that I could get a letter from her, from this other lady, and it would be a lot better to have it come from a real professional than to have it come from an intern, which is where it would be coming from if I got it from my old therapist who left. So now I don't have a letter at all, and I haven't seen my other gender therapist in, I don't know how long, I'm bad with time, but I would say 2 months, 2.5 months. And if I stay in my house, which I plan on doing because I'm going into 12th grade and school is very close, and this is where I have lived, and I don't want to leave right now until I am going off to college. If I stay here, I can't take hormones until I'm 18 when I leave, when I go someplace else where I have my own money and everything like that. And that would be because I would be living here, and my dad would be living here, and my mom is the only one who is okay with me being on testosterone. But something else is happening which I am very grateful for and am very excited for, and that is that I most likely am going to be put on a puberty stopper. So that means no more freaking shit going around in my body that's feminine, I guess. That might be happening, might not be happening. I won't be getting my period anymore, and I won't be going through this puberty anymore, which seems great because at least that's one thing I don't have to deal with. I'm not saying that I'm not already very lucky right now, because I'm sure that I have it a lot better than some other trans people do. I'm not saying that my problems are bigger than anybody else's, but I'm focusing on my own because it is my life and I have to deal with myself every single day. I have to deal with how things are in my life every single day. And because I won't be able to go on hormones anytime soon, it's going to just prevent me from being where I would like to be, because my dad thinks that it would be a mistake if I took hormones, and that 12th grade is going to be the best year of my life, and that if I went on hormones I would be ruining it. I would be making myself an outcast and everything like that. My dad doesn't understand that if I were to take hormones, that it would not make my life harder. It would make it easier. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it if you do. Leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. I don't care. Have a good day.